Good evening, and you're listening to Real Talk with Bruce Cole. First off, I want to apologize. I haven't came to you and talked to you lately. I've had a lot going on in my life. I've been extremely busy, but positive busy. And I just wanted to take the time on this Saturday night to come to you and just speak to you for a little bit. It's a subject that's been, on my heart and in my mind. And, a lot of my podcasts, we speak of positivity and surviving and being strong and perseverance. But I really want to just talk to you from the aspect of you are a fighter, you're a survivor. I was born July 30th, 1984 at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I came into this world with 5 toes on my left foot, 5 toes on my right foot, 5 fingers on my left hand, and 5 fingers on my right hand. But my right leg, I was born with a dislocated hip joint. Doctors told my parents that I may never walk, and if I did walk, I would walk with a limp, or if option 3 worked and the surgery corrected the problem, I would never be able to play major sports or be in a situation where my hip could be knocked out of place and could basically put me in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So there are pictures of me from the time that I was 18 months old in a body cast, laying in my baby bed with both my legs up in the air, being pulled so they can heal, so my legs could actually heal in the proper position once my hip was put back in place. So I didn't realize I was a fighter back then. All I knew is that I had 2 familiar faces that was constantly looking in on me, and people around me that loved me. And from all the pictures that I look back on from my early childhood after I was first born, I was very much loved and doted on and taken care of to the best of my family and parents' ability. And I always give a huge shout out, and I try to donate, whether it's time or whether it's monetary, to Le Bonheur's Children's Hospital. I had my surgery down at Le Bonheur, and they took such good care of my mother and my father during that period of my life. Even to this day, before I went into surgery, my mom tells me that I was offered an opportunity to pick a toy out of the chest box. And the toy that I chose was a green monkey. No, I'm sorry, let me back up. It was a green frog, not a green monkey. I have another story about a monkey, but not for this podcast. It was a green frog that I chose. And even to this day, at 36 years old, I still own that frog. Now, of course, he has holes in him, and he doesn't make the little sound the ribbit sound he used to make, and he's missing a couple of fingers. But I still carry that frog with me throughout my life, because that frog went with me into surgery because I was allowed to take him with me. And then I think about everything I've been through in my life up until this point, how I have survived and how I have fought through the tough days, how I've waded through murky water, how I've went head first into dark storm clouds and weathered the storm by myself. I was a fighter. I was a survivor even when I didn't know it. And you are the same. Sometimes we just haven't tapped into that deep intuition of survival. So many of us have had so many wonderful, amazing people around us who have always been there to pick us up when we fall and dust us off and set us back on the right course. And I've had that too. I've had great parents, great family, had amazing friends, still do. Have amazing siblings, but I've had people who have simply picked me up when times were hard, dusted me off, and said, here you go, try it again. I never really truly got a chance to do it on my own. And something about doing it on your own, it makes you appreciate the journey more. It makes you not only understand, but you take life lessons with you when you've come through the storm. You go into a storm, hoping for the best. But when you come out of it, there's some things that happen in that storm that you can learn from. Whether the wind blew harder than you thought it was going to blow, so next time you got to know to secure your assets a little harder. Or there was hail damage from the storm. Maybe you should have put the car in the garage. Or maybe you should have closed the shutters, on the windows. Or you should have brought in patio furniture. All these things that we deal with when we have a physical weather storm that affects our lives and our homes and our automobiles. But then when we have a personal storm, there are certain things we should guard and make sure we take care of. Being ourselves, being our mental stability, being not only our mental stability, but our peace of mind. And sometimes it's hard to say, how can I be at peace when the world around me is crumbling? I say to that, if you woke up this morning, you're still breathing, whatever you believe in, you've been given another opportunity to do it all over again and persevere. Yesterday was yesterday. Today is tomorrow. We can't always worry about what happened yesterday or didn't happen yesterday. We've been given an opportunity to start fresh and make new. You're surviving. You're fighting. It may not be what somebody else's fight look like, but your fight and your journey is for you. No one ever said that your life was supposed to look like anyone else's life. Your journey was supposed to look like anyone else's journey. Growing up, you always hear people say, you grow up, you go to school, you get married, you have the kids, the dog, and the house. And you always see these, and they live happily ever after. But nobody ever talks about them living beyond happily ever after. Because there's life at the end of the rainbow. And life sometimes comes with hard decisions, setbacks, loss, shifting, life changes and directions. Nothing or no one ever said it was going to be perfect. But how we handle the roadblocks, the situations, and what's being thrown at us is what determines how we will move forward in our future. I know I spent so many times in my life allowing my past to determine my future. Harboring on the what ifs and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. When yesterday was yesterday. But if I had spent more time shifting my energy to what was in front of me and the positive, I wouldn't have stressed as much as I did. I would have worried less. I would have gotten more sleep. I would have been a better person to the people around me. I was surviving, but existing and surviving, not thriving and living and surviving. And I want you to know is that you can survive and still be happy. Don't worry about what you thought you lost. That's just stuff. We can always get another house, another car. We can always go on another trip. You can always buy another ring or buy another watch. but you can't get another life. And you're worth it to fight for your sanity and fight for your survival. And all these other trivial things that society and sometimes we think that matter, they really don't matter. You know, during this pandemic, I've been out of work since January of 2020. And I can honestly say I have survived. I have lived things that I thought I couldn't live without. Really just didn't matter. Those are luxuries that I don't have to live without. But having a peace of mind, knowing my self-worth is what matters. So I just want you to remember, you're a fighter. You're a survivor. And if you're listening to my voice, you are surviving. You're given an opportunity to start over fresh, a new day, each and every day. And I know you may say, but when is my chance going to come? When is that job going to come? Guess what? It's coming. Because you don't stay in a storm always. A storm only lasts for just a short period of time. And the storm that we're all in right now has probably been one of the longest storms any of us have ever endured in our entire life. We're dealing with a pandemic that has killed hundreds of thousands of people. We live in a society where we are having to wear masks, social distance, limited crowds, so much going on around us that even probably to turn on the television can be depressing. But guess what? It's not always going to be that way. We will survive it. We will make it through. And we will keep moving forward. I want to thank you for listening to me. I hope you have a happy rest of your Saturday. And again, this is Bruce.